Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome back to Insert More Coins. Today, I have the esteemed pleasure of talking to a man that is completely across basically the world to me because he lives on the West Coast. He is the author of the gothic fantasy series, The Children of Strife. Book one, The Arsonist, is out. Book two just released, The Confluence, if I said that right. The cloak enthusiast himself, Mr. Tyler Kirk. How are you doing, my friend?
Good. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I've been excited about doing this. This has changed a couple of times. I think we started to do it once or twice and had to change it, and
Yeah,
but it's finally come together.
it's fine. Yeah, it's finally we just had to get the right timing to
Yes.
set the time difference
Yes.
and stuff. But
So
yeah, I'm glad we were able to do it.
we've got a couple of people on here. Let's see. SS Fitzgerald. It looks like earlier this morning wrote
Came to say
came to
hoodies
say
beat clothes.
hoodies beats cloaks.
They're like the
And-
same thing.
Yeah. And Molly McCobb. What's up? Let's see. What's this coming in with a Foo Fighters shirt? I dig it. Yes.
Absolutely.
If it was only corn, it would be perfect. Molly would know that. It's her favorite band, of course.
It's a good one. It's good. It's a good gym workout music.
Mm,
Sure.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, I guess we will get started. So would you like to tell everybody about your books or book series, I guess, that you've got two out?
Yeah. So it's called Children of Strife. It's a series. It's going to be a trilogy. So 2/3 of it is out now. The second book just came out at the end of last month, February, and this is something I've been working on for a really long time. People had to wait a little bit extra longer than I anticipated for this second book that came out. And like the time between the first and the second book was almost 3 years, which I'd never planned on, but there was just a reason that had to happen. I don't plan to have people wait that long for the third and final book. I got it outlined. It's just a matter of getting it written, edited, and all that fun stuff. I don't have a date, like a hard set date, but I am a goal-oriented person, so I do pick a soft date, which I'm not going to say because I don't want anybody that doesn't watch this to be like, but you said like, I am shooting for next year though. I'll leave it open to that.
Yeah.
Like it is, I'm expecting it to come out next year, and that'll be the end of this little trilogy. But it's very cool to me because I've been working on this. For me, I've been working on this for about a decade now. Coming up this April, like in a month, it'll have been 10 years that this IP, if you will, has been taking up space in my brain. So it is very cool to me to like see it. We're like 66% of the way through getting it out of my brain and onto the paper. And so I'm really happy about it. The first book was The Arsonist. That was my debut book. That was like my first published book. And now the sequel, The Confluence, is out. And it's my third book that I've put out total. So I really like it. People though tend to debate me. I shouldn't say debate. That ensues that like insinuates that I'm engaging, right? If it's debate, but I see people all the time kind of question the genre, and I have to tell people all the time, and I'll say it here, like I don't put the genre label on Children of Strife. Like it is kind of gothic, it's kind of Victorian, it's kind of dark, it's kind of fantasy. The only reason I put labels on is because you have to with like Amazon and stuff, right? Like, but I don't really have a box to put it in. I've tried. I've had a lot of the boxes or labels I put it on X when I'm talking about it are just me basically repeating things that other people have said. Cause it's like, oh, well, apparently, these three people read it and they all said it's grimdark. It's a grimdark. But then someone's like, well, no, it can't be grimdark because it's not nihilistic enough. Like, okay, well, then maybe it's just dark fantasy. Well, it's not dark fantasy because there's no, it's like, Look,
Yeah.
it's fiction. It's got weird things in it. It's bizarre, but so yeah, I don't know. I really like it. Obviously, I'm biased, but I've enjoyed writing it. It's been very not just therapeutic, but just challenging because, like I was saying earlier about the labels and putting something in a box, when you struggle to do that as an author, that means that to me means that you're also struggling to compare it to something else that's already out. So it's been challenging in that I don't have like a lot of things to steal from, I guess. Like I feel like if there were dragons in the book, I have like so many examples of dragons, right? Like, oh man, what kind of dragon? There's like a dozen plus different types of dragon worlds out there, right? Which there's nothing wrong with that. That's awesome. I love dragons. I'm not one of those people that thinks it's a tired trope or anything. There would be a lot more things to pull from. But with Children of Strife, I'm dealing with elements that are kind of bizarre. It's like even people that haven't read it, that have just looked at the covers, they're like, okay, there's like a masked fire, like pyromaniac vigilante. But then they see the confluence. They're like, there's a hot air balloon. Like, what time period? What period of time is this in? Like, what is a confluence? They're going like Google. What's a confluence? Two rivers merging. What the? What rivers? Hot air balloons, masks, and fire. Like, what is this? Like a circus novelty like story? Like, it's weird. But and a lot of people will say this, but the whole reason it's weird is because I was trying to write something that I would want to read, something that I wasn't able to really find in a lot of books at the time when I was starting to write it, I guess. So yeah, that's what I got going on right now. Is I'm working on book 3, and just kind of enjoying the recent success of the Confluence coming out. It got a lot of support. We'll see what happens, but so far the launching experience, this was way better than the Arsonist, because when the Arsonist came out, it was my debut book. I'm still a nobody, but it was like I didn't even have 100 followers on X.
Yeah.
Like, so, like I would post like, hey, the book The Arsonist's out, and there wasn't even crickets. There was nothing.
Yeah.
Now there's crickets, but before there was nothing. It was just dead silence. So I'm thankful for the crickets now. So
yeah. So all right. So the Arsonist, you said, is like fire. The Confluence is like water. So are we going straight Pokemon and going green?
I wish it were like that. The third book, I will say this: the third book's title doesn't connect to any element.
Yeah, it's
not like Earth or anything. That kind of happened almost by accident, in a way. So it originally wasn't going to be called The Confluence. Like when I first wrote this a long time ago, like before 2019, I had like this idea of like drafting it, right? It originally was going to be called something else. If I remember correctly, I had an idea for 4 books instead of 3, and either this one or the next one, it was going to be called The Calamity.
Okay.
But I didn't like that because I came up with that after this was long. I don't know why I wanted to go with that. It was probably because subconsciously I had been working on the map, and in the idea of the word calamity it's an area on the map. And so I think that I was trying to think of a title that fit it, and I had just come up with that area on the map. And so I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And then like years later, like 2 years later, I'm like going back through my notes. I'm like, wait a minute. Can't call it the Calamity. Then that insinuates that it's this area on the map, which it's not. So kind of happened by accident. I ended up going with the Confluence because I thought it made much more sense. But it wasn't supposed to be like, oh, this one's about fire and this one's about water. It's kind of turned into that, I guess. That was not my intention. It just kind of happened. But
okay.
yeah, some Avatar stuff.
We've got, let's see, Molly's no Slipknot, baby. Come on, Molly. What are you doing? We
Slipknot
got,
over corn.
yeah. And is that
Mark's here with a cloak.
Mark? That's right. Ready to fight. We've got voice here. It's weird. Cover quote. It would be a great cover quote.
It would. Yeah, that's true.
There
Gotta
we
catch
go.
all the
Got to catch the
cloaks.
cloaks. Voice needs a banger theme song. There we go.
There are lots of cloaks in it.
There we go.
For
All
sure.
right. All right.
A lot of cloaked figures in it. So
I'd seen where I guess it was it yesterday or the day before that you had posted that you had finished a book that your great grandfather wrote or was working on, or
So yesterday I was just basically, because I had like recently gotten a lot of new followers, and I had people, I'd actually gotten a couple of DMs of people asking me about my books. And so, and some of them are probably bots, but I was just like, you know what? It's been a while since I've like actually clarified what I've written. So yesterday I decided to just kind of sprinkle throughout the day about my 3 books, just like a quick synopsis, like this is what it is. Here's kind of what I was doing with it. The Vitamin Kid is the second book I ever put out. It was originally a screenplay that my great grandfather had started writing before World War II happened, and then that kind of like, you know, he broke off away from it and he never came back to it. But he always just kind of kept it unfinished in like a type, because he did it all on a typewriter. Well, long story short, I had inherited it when I was in 8th grade. I was taking a lot of film classes and writing classes. Like I was really into that stuff. So I had inherited it, and because they just were like, well, this is the person in the family who would probably like it the most or find it interesting or inspiring or relatable. And I read through it in like a weekend. I was so enthralled by it and thought it was so cool. Yeah, and it was really cool, but it was unfinished. It had a lot of blank pages, like mistakes, like pages that had been ripped out. Like I could tell, like maybe didn't like it. There were pages that just had like a complete line written through them, you know, where it was just like it was like super early drafted out stage, right? And I remember thinking like, man, this is a really cool story. I think people would like it. It's not very long, but there's a lot here missing, but I don't want to like create too much new stuff. But I remember telling myself, like, if I ever can get published or like get into a place where I'm writing and doing my own thing, I'm going to do this for him. I'm going to like finish this for him. Right. So after The Arsonist came out, and I was like ready to roll with the momentum of The Arsonist of like, okay, I got my debut book out and I need to get on to the next book, because The Confluence at the time, The Calamity, was like pretty ready to go. Like I just needed to finish it and then send it off to an editor. But I was like, you know, 8th grade me would be really pissed off if I did that. Because I made a promise to myself that if I published something under my name, then I would go back and do this. So went through the whole process of going back through the Vitamin Kid. I reread it, and just started kind of trying to be creative of like, okay, well, how can I make this complete without people noticing that like a millennial in the 2020s wrote something that was being done on a typewriter in the 1930s? Like, how can I make this actually where people don't realize, like, they read this page and they go to the next page, like, oh, and now it's Tyler, right? And that's my proudest accomplishment so far as a writer, to be honest, is the fact that every person that's read the Vitamin Kid, not that there's like hundreds of them, but every person that has, they haven't been able to figure it out what parts I didn't. So that's awesome. That's my personal, like, proud writing achievement right now, as of right now. Which I think that's a hard thing to top for me. I'm not saying that compared to other people, like my own inner competition as Tyler. I don't know if I'm ever going to really be able to beat that, because I was having to like really get immersed into not just a deceased family member's creative narrative, but also he wrote that thing like it was almost 100 years ago. I mean, if we look at the dates, right, it's crazy. Like it's a long time ago. It's like a whole person ago. So, man, mean, we're 3 generations apart. It's a long time. So I did the best I could. So I got it out. I wanted it. So like, I have some regrets though with the Vitamin Kid. Like I told you what my proudest part was. My parts that I regret were, I never wanted my name to be on it. I wanted to ghostwrite it and publish it under Harry Kirk, not put my name on it. Because I thought putting my name on it just felt very weird to me. Like, oh yeah, I'm taking almost like not nepotism, but it's like this weird, like, this is my great grandfather's book, but now it's mine. You know, like I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to ever. I didn't want to do that. I didn't really have a choice though, unfortunately, being a self-published author with the legal stuff with Amazon and copywriting and legality. That there's a lot of stuff that I don't have access to prove certain things. So the best thing I could do without dumping a bunch of money that I don't have into a lawyer was to just do co-authorship, where I give him full credit, but I put myself on it as like the co-author for like production purposes, like publishing purposes.
Yeah.
So, but every time people bring it up or they tell me something that they liked about it, I'm always giving him credit. Like I've never once been like, this is my story. And like, I'm proud that I was able to help finish it and make the new stuff that was making it incomplete before seem seamless, if that makes sense. But yeah, I wish that I could have had it just be his name. I also wish that I could have done a different cover. The cover that's on it is a cover I designed that was as close as I could get it to what he had made on his manuscript. So I was trying to stay on, but I don't know, but like I was trying to stay as close to what he had left, but it's kind of rough because people in this day and age compared to back then, at least, well, it's twofold because he never originally intended it for it to be a book, right? It was going to be a screenplay.
Yeah.
It was going to be like a movie. So you didn't really need a cover art. But people today, I mean, that's like everything is the cover.
Yeah.
And the Vitamin Kid, yeah. And so like the Vitamin Kid cover doesn't communicate anything. And the name of it does not insinuate what it's about, which is the Vitamin Kid is a stage name for a boxer in Hollywood. It's about the whole thing is a sports fiction story about a boxer. And because my great grandfather, he lived in Hollywood in the 1930s and he was a physical therapist for athletes.
That's cool.
So I mean, he was writing this story while doing that. So he's living in Hollywood in the 1930s as a physical therapist for athletes, writes a story that takes place in Hollywood in the 1930s about an athlete. So, you know, it's pretty accurate, but unfortunately it doesn't communicate that at all because people are like the Vitamin Kid, you know, is this like a nutritional thing? You know, like, is it? So I regret not having the ability to give it like a more catching cover that explains that. And I was so disappointed with my design of the cover that I didn't want to put it on a hardcover because I just didn't think it would look good. So like that is something that I regret initially, but I'm hoping in the future I can fix or change. The other reason a lot of people have said like, well, if you weren't happy with it, why didn't you just wait a bit and then have, you know, I've had a couple people ask me that before. So I'll just get to that part. Originally, I had a family member that was going to draw the cover art. And it was going to be this cool thing where it's like written by these two people in the family with this last name. And then, illustrated by this person with the same last name, like a Three Amigos thing, right?
Yeah.
They really messed up their hand as soon as I set the Vitamin Kid in to be edited. And so they never finished the artwork because they had to have their like hand reconstruction surgery in here and stuff. Man. And I didn't want to try to like last minute go and I'd already announced like a release date and everything. So I didn't want to go like try to like delay it. And I don't, maybe I should have, but
You can
at the
always
time,
re-release it at some point,
yeah,
and change
yeah,
the cover. People do that all the time now.
yeah, and I did that with the Arsonist, which is why I'm kind of saying like I will do that with the Vitamin Kid someday. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Um, it is something I want to do, but I think that that'll be a little bit later down the road. I think I need to
Mhm.
finish like the Children of Strife stuff, then revisit that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things that I'd like to re-include in the Vitamin. And then the third and final thing that really I regret is and I don't know, other people have been like, oh, I've done that by accident too. You know, it happens. So you know when you go into like to publish, you know, you submit your file, and
Yeah.
once it's sent, you can't like until
Yeah.
they're done review. Okay, so you know how that works. So I learned a very valuable lesson about how that all works, and that I accidentally sent in the wrong file.
Oh, no.
And I did, and by the time, and I couldn't change it once it's sent.
Yeah.
By the time I could go in and do that, the book had already been released.
Oh, that's rough.
So I had to change the file the day after the book came out, which meant that people that decided to get the book the day it came out, which there wasn't like a ton, but there were still people that got it. They got it with the wrong file. So I ended up all the people that I could prove had got it that first day and were like able to show me like that they got the wrong file. Like I ended up sending them a new copy, and to make up for it because I just felt stupid and bad. So definitely not perfect. So yeah, the Vitamin Kid was my second book I ever put out, and that was 2024. That was in summer of 2024. That was cool. I getting to do that for my great grandfather. A lot of lessons learned from that. But yeah.
All right, we have got more people here. Jeremy Engel, what's up? Is this a dangerous man, J.L. Engel? Is that who that is? Can
Might
I be
be.
right? Let's see. We got Mike Molman. What's up, party people? He even
Hi.
said, no cloaks anywhere. I feel cheated. Trinity Cunningham. Hello, hello. Let's see. Oh, it is. I'm right. Nice, nice. Let's see. Molly asked, did you already know a lot about boxing before finishing the story, or did you have to do a bunch of research?
So that's a good question. What I knew about boxing was like Mike Tyson era to now. Boxing was not the same in the 30s and
Oh, yeah.
40s. And the
Yeah.
story takes place at the end of the Roaring 20s, where like the money has dried up, but they're trying to still find a way to like keep people entertained.
Mhm.
And like a lot of people don't know this about the Great Depression. I learned this through research because I didn't really understand. I'm like, well, if this takes place in the Great Depression, then like why are there still people? I'm a millennial. I grew up with Great Depression. Everybody was poor and like nobody had anything. And I'm reading the story to explain. I'm like, well, this doesn't make sense. These people are still going to like grocery stores. And well, I didn't realize that the Great Depression, it didn't just all happen at once. Like not everything just like went
Mm.
boom right away, right?
Yeah.
It took a while to catch up to the West Coast. Like it kind of started east and moved west,
Yep.
and it hit the big cities last. So this story takes place in a unique era of like it's Hollywood coming out of the Roaring 20s. So like the Great Depression's happening, but like people are still kind of trying to hang on to this like gilded age. Um, so about the boxing thing, no, I didn't know anything about boxing from this era. I did research. I had actually reached out to my great aunt, who was my great grandfather's oldest child, his daughter, and she had actually given me his diary from around that time. He kept diaries and stuff, and reading through his diary kind of helped me get into the mindset of not like I'm I sound like I was an actor or something. Like I got into character, but it helped me
Yeah.
understand what it's like to live in Hollywood in the early 1930s. You know, like World War II hasn't happened yet, but there's people that are involved in World War II, obviously, that are
Yeah.
making headlines, right? Like I always thought it was funny or not funny, but weird that when I was in eighth grade, that there was like a mention to Hitler making waves in Germany in the story, like on a newspaper. And it's like, isn't this in the 30s? But I didn't know yet. I'd gotten that far in US history as a kid yet. But no, so doing research helped. Having access to his diary helped, and he actually, that was the part that I think he actually had fully fleshed out, was the boxing stuff. A lot of the stuff that was missing, I'm not going to give it away what I did, but a lot of it, not all of it, but most of the stuff that I had to kind of help put together didn't have necessarily to do with the boxing. It had to do with other things going on in the story, because boxing is the main element, like main part of the narrative of the story, but there's a lot of other things, character development, character introduction, things like that don't have anything to do with boxing.
Okay.
So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. Let's see. Molly said, I guess talking about some of the things you regret. Happens everyone who
Yeah.
one of the first few days got a cover with a typo in the blurb. And Jeremy said, don't sweat it. I'm working on uploading book information.
It's rough. Well, and it's rough because you have so many
Yeah.
different file types. I mean, like if you're like me, you have a different file for the ebook and you have a different file for the paperback, and you're trying to keep all of them. But yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's really awesome. That's something. It seems like that's something not many people do anymore, is diaries or keeping a journal or whatever. Like it's on your, if you write anything down, it's on your phone, and then when your phone's gone, that's pretty much it. A lot of times.
Shrewd, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I want to get my typewriter back up and running. I actually would love to.
That's cool.
I would love to, like, I was talking about this with Jessica when we were on my launch day of my book. We did a little show like this, and I talked about how I would really like to get that thing back up and running and do journaling on it. And then when I get really good at it, to where I'm not making as many mistakes, because you can't, like, you make a mistake on a typewriter, it's just like start over. Yeah. I would love to write like short stories or like short novellas, do like a first draft of them in that, and then publish it like as like a normal Amazon thing, but then like do a giveaway where I give away like the original like typewriter.
Oh yeah, that would be really cool.
That'd be super cool. Yeah.
It's almost like, have you, I don't know if you've seen or not, but like say Brandon Sanderson, like whenever he has his, what is it, Nexus, or I forget what it's called, where he like does like some of the original pages of his books, and they sell for like $10,000 plus.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
I would like, that's why I want to get something like that up and running, because I think it'd be cool to have something like more. I mean, books are permanent; they're physical, but having something a little bit more intimate to the writer, I guess, because like I put together the Vitamin Kit, but it's not the original Vitamin Kit, like manuscript paper.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool, but I like stuff like that. So sometimes I feel like my wife and I'll be talking and I'll tell her all these cool ideas that I have, like what I just told you. And she's like, yeah, but that's like something you would like. I don't know if a lot of people would want that. I'm like, yeah, I guess I tend to like project my geeky interests on people.
You could do something like, and I don't know if you've ever thought about doing like Kickstarter or whatever, but like, if you were selling, like say you did a Kickstarter for the Vitamin Kid and did like the new cover on it and have a few extra things for like one tier that's say $30, or you can get like the $50 tier and do like some of the typewriting stuff and add it like on another something. I mean, it's just, like that'd be
that's a good idea. Yeah. I've been looking more into the Kickstarter stuff. It does seem like it would help a lot.
Yeah. Well, if you did like the full, like say after your third book comes out, you could straight up do a Kickstarter for like the trilogy and make it like an omnibus.
That would be cool.
And sell it for one, like a really nice one. And then like say on your add-ons or whatever, you could sell like the paperbacks of the 3 separate, because a lot of people,
Yeah.
I know, like me personally, some of my like special edition books, oh, other side, some of those, I won't even open them. Like I'll look at them, but like to read them, I'll either read them on a Kindle or I'll buy like a super cheap version
I'm the same
used
way.
and read it on that so I don't
I'm
mess
the
up the
same way.
books. So,
Yeah. I'm the same way. I would I think it'd be cool when the Children of Strife, the third book comes out and it's all said and done. I think it'd be really cool to do a to make a like a 3 set all
yeah.
leather bound and do like a
Oh, yeah.
giveaway, do like some massive giveaway
Yeah.
thing online to give away like a leather bound set of all 3 books. I think that'd be really
Yeah.
cool.
That's awesome.
I've definitely got lots of ideas. It's just a matter of making them reality is the tricky
Mhm.
part. That's the hard part. But
Yeah.
definitely no shortage of ideas with me.
So, what was your inspiration in writing? Like, I know, like the one with your grandfather, I know that, but like
Yeah.
your Children of Strife like series, like where did that come from?
Well, so it's a idea that goes back to when I was in the Navy back in like 2015. Um, well, I'll pause there. I'll go back a little bit further actually. So writing to me is something I've always done. Like my parents have told me like I was always writing. I was always writing like short stories, like on family road trips. That's what I did in the back seat. Like I've just always had notepads and notebooks and journals and like always writing. Um, the adults would be having like a get together and I would like be in the living room, like writing something, then I'd go out and like give it to people. Like, here, I wrote you a story, just like,
That's cool.
so, so I've always liked writing. Like, I think I've just always liked storytelling, because which I think storytelling is probably the best way to put it, because I also really like other entertainment mediums that involve storytelling, like film and games and music. But the arsonist story is one that came to me when I was in the Navy. I It's just one of those things that just kind of like pops into your head
Mhm.
and you can't stop thinking about it. Like you keep entertaining it and it keeps evolving into something more. Um, so I had started writing The Arsonist as a short story while I was in the Navy. I was going to do a short story and I was going to send it to like a magazine, like
Okay.
submit it to like be like a short gothic, gothic Batman story in a magazine somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I was really big into writing short stories at that time in my life, and like reading them and stuff. But then I got out, and then I started thinking like, actually, this would be cooler if I did like an independent like comic book. I was collaborating with a buddy of mine that was like he's really big into like doing like anime drawings and stuff.
Mhm.
And he wanted to start like a comic of his own, but he didn't like want to have to think of like, he just wanted to draw them. He didn't want to like think about like, why is this guy the villain? Why is this guy not? Like he just wanted to draw cool stuff. Um, we were collaborating on trying to do that. And it just never really lined up. And then I was kind of just gave up on it for a while. Then I started going to college and it just kept coming back in my head. And I was like, okay, maybe I do need to pursue this. And then I just sat down and just kind of expanded the whole thing. I was like, okay, I want to write this one giant book. And then I was like, a month later, I was like, this is actually way too big. Like nobody's going to read this. No, I wouldn't want to read this. I'll condense it down to 2 books. And it was still too long. So then I was like, okay, I'll do 4 books. And then I finally agreed on doing a trilogy. And that's kind of what happened. I had workshopped it with people. I'd gone to like writing groups about it. I had shared it with a ton of peers of mine at the time. A lot of friends in school had read it. A lot of coworkers were giving it a chance at the time. And people were like, you should query it, send it in. And so I did that. I did a bunch of querying of sending it in. And it just didn't end up really going the way I thought it was going to go. Not because I don't think like, I mean, most people know by now, like when it comes to publishing, like trad publishing, like if you're not writing to the gallery, they're not gonna entertain it. You know what I mean?
Yep. Oh yeah. Just go to anywhere like Target or whatever. Every cover
Right.
looks the same and it's pretty much all the same stuff.
Right. And I'm a David Bowie fan, so I've always liked his quote since I was like a teenager of don't play to the gallery. So I was never interested like writing The Arsonist, writing Children of Strife. Like I was trying to write something that I wanted to read that like I wish I could have given to my younger self to read, things like that. I wasn't interested in trying to write something that fit today's flavor of the month, I guess, put it that way. And so didn't really go anywhere. And so instead of like giving up, I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to abandon this. I'm going to look into like indie publishing, like what that looks like, you know, smaller publishing. And after doing a bunch of research, I ended up just deciding like, I'm just going to publish this myself through Amazon and go from there. And that's pretty much what I did. But yeah, the Children of Strife, it came to me as an idea when I was in the Navy. That was about 10 years ago. And I've just been kind of keeping it alive since then. But
yeah. Let's see. We got more. Let's Molly said I had like 20 diaries, but I threw them on the fire.
oh no.
EL, what's up? What's up? Said you were fantasizing about burning stuff.
Molly is the arsonist.
Yes. Said yes, I feel the same, Tyler. All mediums as long as it's a great story being told. I love that you live with it long enough to get it right. I look closer at the names on the screen and just the cloak stuff. Oh me.
I could put a cloak on if everybody wants. Like I'll go put it on real quick.
Yep, there we go.
I almost put a plaid shirt on just to mess with people.
Yeah. Where did that come from? Like, did you just post a random thing and it blew up?
So last year I've always thought cloaks were cool, and I saw some random posts. You know, you're just scrolling and something just random comes. You're like, why is this even here? Like, I wasn't even thinking about chicken nuggets, right?
Yeah.
Something came up, and it had to do with like cloak fashion. It was like cloak fashion should make a comeback, and it had like this person, like a mannequin with like a super elegant. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I agree. And I like reposted it. I was like, this is true. We need to bring cloaks back. And that just like exploded. Like everybody in the author community was like, yeah, I agree. And it just like, and I was like, yeah, I also agree. Like let's keep talking about cloaks. And the cloak thing just continued for a while last year. It would just like, it never got like to the point where it was like trending, but it would just like periodically return. Like 3 weeks would pass. And then like someone would be like, somebody would see a cloak post and they would tag me and be like, I bet Tyler agrees. And then I would go in there and be like, yeah, I do agree. And then I'd repost their cloak post. And it just, it just kind of continued. Well, at the end of last year, I don't know if they want me to name them or not, but they were like, 2026 is your year because I had a new book coming out. So they're like, it's the year of the cloak. And they gifted me a cloak, and I took a picture with it on, and then I posted on X, and it was like 2020, like New Year, like 2026 is the year of the cloak, like a hashtag, just trying to be silly, and it just like kind of like people were like, yeah, hashtag year of the cloak, and it just we had all this cloak stuff happening in January, and I just kind of embraced it, and then
like 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was like, what was it, Harry Potter with some cloaks? And
so I'm getting to that. Yeah. So Noah is a person on the X community that I'm friends with.
Isaac.
He posted something about it, like in the Fosha community, like he posted a picture of himself with a plaid shirt on. It was like, everybody knows, plaid's better than cloaks or something. And it just blew up. People were like, no, cloaks are better. and then eventually, we go back to what you were talking about. Dan puts up a poll. He's like, now I'm curious. Like, do you guys, writers, do you guys prefer plaids or cloaks? And then he's team plaid. So, of course, for cloaks, he puts Red Riding Hood and Harry Potter on the cloak. Not anybody actually known for wearing a cloak like anybody from Lord of the Rings. Or he picks, like, first of all, Harry Potter, is he wearing a cloak? That's a debate in itself. Yeah. Red Riding Hood, really? And then for plaids, he's got like the Winchester brothers from Supernatural, which don't always wear plaid, by the way.
That's true.
And then there were like jokes about like Paul Bunyan, like plaid's American. If you're not like plaid, you're not American. Just all this stupid stuff. And they ended up having this poll up for a day, and it was close, really close, because a lot of people. Well, here's why I think it was close. I think it was close because of what I just told you, which is people were like, oh, of course Supernatural beats Harry Potter. I'm picking this one. It's like, that's not the question of the poll. there was that, and then there was a useless third option that was there just to detract people, like a neutral option. Like, they're both good. Like, okay, that doesn't help.
Yeah.
Cloaks ended up winning, though.
Yep.
Ended up winning.
Well, they're so popular. Even Trinity bought one.
Good. There's more and more people have been posting selfies of the cloak. You go onto the X search and you type in cloak, and you'd see there's a lot of people making a comeback. And I will give credit where credit's due. There's a company called Nightweave. Okay. They make like professional cloaks for people who are not out in like public, like they're pretending to be Gandalf or Aragorn or something, but they're blankets. It's a wearable blanket cloak. Okay. For like when you're at home playing D&D with your buddies or watching a movie.
I forgot about EO's the Cloak of Invisibility. That's right.
There's cloaks in Harry Potter, but the picture, like they put him in like his normal Harry Potter clothes. It's like, that's not even a cloak. Yes. I know about the Cloak of Invisibility. That is a good point. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But the cloak thing and the plaid thing blew up. Cloaks ended up winning, being on top. So the year of the cloak continues. And more people are embracing the cloak, and they're wearing them and posting pictures of them. And I think they're cool. Like, what started off as like a kind of like that's actually a cool idea and joke is like turned into like, bring them back. Let's do this. Let's get everybody wearing cloaks. And then some people are like, I can't wear a cloak where I live. It's too hot or it's too wet. And it's like, they make cloaks for hot weather. They have desert cloaks.
That's right. All right. So do you have any author or authors that influenced your writing?
Oh man, so many. So obviously the Vitamin Kid, my influence was my great grandfather. What his influences were I think just his life. Yeah. For Children of Strife, I definitely had started with The Arsonist. I definitely had a lot more influences in like I don't want to say gothic horror realm, but I don't really know how else to phrase it without going on like a weird nuanced discussion. But so we'll just say that if someone wants to get mad and be like, no, there's no gothic horror in it, like, okay. It's the best I've got right now, okay? I was definitely reading a lot more of what I would consider like dark fantasy gothic horror at the time. Before the idea came to me, I had read the Game of Thrones books that were out at the time. Which is grim dark fantasy. I had read the Witcher books that were out at the time, which is I think it's kind of like gothic dark fantasy to me. And so I was definitely influenced by like Martin and Sapkowski. But then there were like childhood influences, of course, like Tolkien, obviously. C.S. Lewis, um, I and many more. But like the most recent stuff I had read at the time was pretty much that. And then I was just also influenced by just other media at the time, the music I was listening to at the time, um, and games. There was a game that got brought up a lot, a video game, when I was in college. When I was, like I had said, I was kind of passing around. Like I would go to the library and just print out like chapters and hand them out to people, right? Like, hey, could you read this when you're at work and you're bored on your lunch break? You know, like I had friends that would do that because I would do that for other people too, right? It was a community, if you will. I really miss it. I wish I could do something like that with digitally online, but it's kind of hard. But there was a video game that people were playing that was really big. I never played it because it's a PlayStation exclusive game. I've never owned, like I'm a computer guy, so like I never had like a Wii or a Switch or a PlayStation. I had an Xbox at one time, but it was called Bloodborne. And
it's still stuck on the PS3.
Yeah, so truth be told, I've never played it. But there were about 3 or 4 people that were reading my early iterations of the Arsonist that were like, dude, did you like, this totally reminds me of Bloodborne. And I was like, what the hell is Bloodborne? And I remember correcting them in a text message one time. I was like, mean Blood Rain? Like, what's a Bloodborne? And they were like, Bloodborne, game made by this studio, it's like
FromSoft.
And and I'm like, so I went on and I looked it up and I was like, what the hell? Like, I don't really see it. These are like dudes like fighting, like this is like H.P. Lovecraft stuff. It's like cosmic horror. I was going for more like gothic horror, like dark, like I was going for more of like Geralt hunting monsters type of horror, not cosmic horror. We're all gonna get eaten by Cthulhu moon monster stuff, right? Which I love Lovecraft, by the way. He's cool. I wouldn't call him an influence just because I don't really, at least, well, maybe later, but not during the Arsonist.
Not right now.
not during the Arsonist at all. And so I ended up like, but I liked what I saw. I was like, this is kind of cool. I do like this world that I've never played. So I ended up going on Pinterest and I really fell in love with a lot of the aesthetics. I was like, yeah, I get why they think that some of the things I'm describing were inspired by this world, because this is definitely like the kind of aesthetic. Now, I then made the mistake one time of bringing that up on X casually with someone when they were like asking me like, well, what's the vibe of the world? Like the Arsonist world, like what is that like? Like what's that look like? And I brought up like casually, like, oh, it's kind of like, like what? I had no idea the fan base that game has. Very protective over any kind of comparison. Like, don't compare your shitty self-published book to my legendary game that I love very much. So I was like, okay, I'm never gonna make that comparison again until I go on, Rowdy's show. Then I'll make the comparison. Get you in trouble. But but the aesthetic appeal of like this very like cathedral, dark trench coats and and flintlocks and werewolves and totally love that vibe. It's very like, to me, that's like peak European fantasy. I know everybody wants, I know it's like King Arthur to most people and the Knights of the Round Table and stuff, but I like the Romanian Germanic, like post Catholic schism, post Crusade, like more like people have started to develop like the legend of Dracula and like Transylvania and like that kind of stuff. It's very spooky and interesting. Think, how do we? It's no surprise. Like people are always like, what? It needs a dragon in it to be fantasy. It's like, but Dracula means dragon.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that's a much more harder dragon to deal with is a vampire. This guy that won't die. But yeah, I would say that those were my influences for the arsonist, and then with like the confluence, I was reading a lot of different stuff. I was listening to a lot of different stuff, playing different things too. Um, Never really talked about like video games and music very much until people started bringing up the Bloodborne thing. And then when I did a re-release of the Arsonist um, last year with the cover that everyone sees now with the mask and the fire and stuff,
Yeah.
a lot of people brought up Fable, old school
Oh,
Fable. Old school Fable. There's a character. He's the main antagonist of the game. It's called Jack of Blades,
yep.
and he wore a red hood and a
Mhm.
mask with like a bunch of like it wasn't a plain mask. It had decorations on it. And he had multiple masks. He carried like two more with him. But people were like, "Oh, it looks like Jack of Blades." And I didn't see it originally, but then once people started saying, I was like, "Oh my gosh, it kind of does."
Yeah.
And then Tim McKay had asked me, he's like, "Have you ever played Fable before?" I was like, "Yeah, I love that game." He's like, "Okay, is there like was that like the and truth be told, that was never the original intent. That's like another
That's
one of
cool.
those things where it's like, I guess my subconscious just took the wheel and was like, we're going Fable with this character. Boom. It was never the original plan. So, yeah.
Thanks for stopping by, Trinity.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
See you, Trinity. Thanks for coming.
That's really neat. So, all right. So, well, are you planning on doing any audiobooks for this series?
Yeah. So I would like to do an audiobook for the whole series and even the Vitamin Kids someday. Problem is, I'm not an audiobook guy, so it's a
Okay.
whole new thing I have to learn. I've
Yeah.
never done them. I never liked audiobooks, like listening to them. I can't like I have a hard time listening to them and like actually staying engaged.
Okay.
I'm the opposite of what appears to be most people. Most people have a hard time holding the book and staying engaged. They need the
Yeah.
audiobook so they can like lean back in their chair and listen to it or be moving around doing stuff. Or a lot of people have told me, hey, I started reading The Arsonist. I'm gonna finish it. I really wish we had an audiobook so I could listen to it while I'm at work. And I hear that often, especially from my family members, that most of my family refuses to physically read. Like they only do audiobooks. I've just never been an audiobook guy. So like I have to figure out how to do that. That's my first thing, which it from what some of the people in the community have told me, it's not that difficult. It's just expensive.
Okay.
The second thing is I will not record like do the reading. Like I want to have somebody else do it. No problem with people that choose to do their own audiobooks. I just won't do it. I don't have the voice. I mean, you guys are hearing me right now. Do you really want me reading a gothic horror story to you? I could do like
Hey,
a Scooby-Doo novel at best.
Tim McKay's very good with his. I'll tell you what, E.L. Montague is too. I just finished.
Ian has the voice for False Evangeline,
Yeah.
though. I
Yeah.
don't have that kind of voice. I I don't I don't even think people would want to hear me read Catcher in the Rye, man. Like I don't have the voice for that.
E.L.'s
So
voice is very good, I think.
I think a lot. There are very few people that I've met and actually heard their voices in the writing community that where
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, they probably shouldn't read. That's very rare. It's mainly just me and call it an insecurity or call it a preference, whatever. I'm not interested in doing the reading myself.
Yeah.
And so I got to learn how to do it. Then I got to put aside the money to do it, pay somebody to do it, which requires me to put up like an audition board to see who can actually do this. Like, who do I think sounds right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll tell you this, the Children of Strife, it's like I said earlier, it's weird, right? It's a dark adult world, like tone, but all the characters are very young. The oldest protagonist is like 20.
Okay.
So you're dealing with narratively, like dialogue wise, the majority of the characters you're dealing with are young. they're mature
Yeah.
because it's not taking place in real life, right? But it's fiction, it's fantasy, but they're young, and but the world landscape is very much like we were talking about earlier. It's very like gothic horror aesthetic.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
If
It's a tough one.
the Vitamin Kid, if you thought about doing like it would be pretty neat to do, since it's based in like, the late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
If you could do it like a guy that's like a radio
Sounds like that era.
broadcaster, you know what I mean?
Yes. That's
That would be pretty
yes.
cool.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
That's something I was going to say too, as like closing thoughts for me, was that on this topic is that if I was going to do an audiobook, if I was going to invest the time to get it going and invest the money, I would rather do it for the Vitamin Kid, because I would care more about that story being listened to, because it was written. Anyone that ends up reading it, if you've never read the Vitamin Kid before and you're listening to this, it doesn't read. Read the reviews. They'll tell you on Goodreads and Amazon. It's very dialogue heavy. There's not a lot of there is description, there is world building, but it's not. There's not a whole half a page talking about what the street looked like, what businesses were there. It's very dialogue heavy. So having someone doing an audiobook version of it, I don't think would be hard. I think the casting would be harder than the actual recording. And it's very short. It's like a 200-page story. So it would be really quick. But that's a story that I think I personally would want to hear more than read. Whereas Children of Strife, I feel like I'm a very poetic writer, I guess, like lyrical writer, and I know it's extremely pretentious. I don't care. That's just how my writing style is. And I feel like I'm the kind of guy that I know most people don't like. People make jokes about like overly descriptive authors like Tolkien spending 3 sentences on a tree. I'm that guy sometimes. I don't know if I would keep people's attention in an audiobook, But I guess
you get the right audiobook narrator, and I guarantee it does. I mean, okay, you think about like what you just said, Tolkien taking 3 sentences to describe a tree. Well, Andy Serkis, if you use that version, it's incredible.
Legendary. Yeah.
Exactly. But I'm just saying, like, I hadn't read The Lord of the Rings. Like, I've watched the movies, I can't tell you how many times, but I listened to him read The Hobbit, and it is so good.
I've only listened to a couple chapters of it. I listened to like Riddles in the Dark and stuff of him doing it because someone had sent it to me. I don't know. Maybe I need to just give it more of a try. I just haven't spent a lot of time on the audiobook side of things yet. But I would like to. I know for people like you, especially, you drive a lot. It'd be nice for you to have that's more like realistically accessible for your time.
Yeah, that's what EL does for me. I mean, he's nice enough to send me like his audiobooks. I've listened to every single one of them because he sends them to me, and
that's awesome.
They're great. And I have time to listen because I'm driving for 10 to 11 hours a day. Well, his latest book, The Lost Girl, I listened to it in 2 days, and it's fantastic. Fantastic. But yeah, I mean, for me, and I know I'm more in the minority on this.
I don't think you are. I think you're the majority. I can't tell you how many people I've had. So many people ask me when audiobook. So
I'm sure nowadays it's probably turning into more people wanting to audiobook. Like, to me, if I could, I'd audiobook every book that I list and then if I like it, then I'll go buy it. Yeah.
You sound like the majority of people in my family. There's a lot of people in my family that they will do an audiobook, and if the book was 5 stars to them, then they'll order a physical copy, but they don't read the physical copy. They just have it as like, this was a book that was 5 stars. They'll like bring it out. Like, this was a top, this was employee of the month.
Exactly. So you don't ever have to crack that spine. It just stays right. Oh, it's just perfect. I love it. It stays right here. You can't read it.
I understand. I get it. I wish that I was more like that. I as like a book enjoyer, like consumer or whatever. I wish I was more like that. Um, I definitely need to to get more involved in the audiobook stuff. I just haven't cracked that code yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you, which you don't have to tell me what it is by no means, but are you working on any other projects besides book 3?
Like book
Yeah.
projects.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, I'm always open to like I have journals full of ideas. Like whenever I get stuff, I'm the kind of guy that keeps a journal by the nightstand. Will write down an idea. Like if I wake up or if I can't sleep and I'm like, that's a good idea, I'll write. Like I'm the guy,
Yeah.
and I don't care. People are gonna laugh. If people are always like, man, I had a really good idea in the shower and then I got out and it was gone. If I get that idea in the shower, I'm hopping out of the shower. I keep a
Yeah.
thing, keep either my phone or sometimes a notepad on the like the bathroom counter, like sink counter. I will walk out of that shower,
Yeah.
birthday
I
suit and all,
I've
and I will
had
just start.
I've had several authors tell me that they keep a notepad by the nightstand when they'll wake up in the middle of
Yeah,
the night and write down an idea and
you
go right
have
back to
to.
sleep.
Your best
So,
ideas, my best ideas come to me when I am doing things that are just not like driving somewhere that I typically don't want to go to because so I'm
yeah.
and I don't want to be like if I have to go drive somewhere I don't want to drive to. My mind will wander because I'm trying to not obsess about not wanting to go to this thing.
Yeah.
Because like if you're driving to somewhere that you want to go to, you're excited. You're like thinking about like, oh man, when I get there, I'm gonna order this or like
Yeah.
so driving, shower, sometimes very rarely the gym, like work, like exercise, like if you're out walking, even ideas will come and it's like I gotta get them down because I will forget them.
Yeah.
There's some good ideas out there in the imagination of Tyler that have been lost forever because I just didn't have the ability, I guess, to write them down. But so I have lots of ideas. Like I said, no shortage of ideas. It's a matter of finding the time to execute them. I definitely will continue to write after this Children of Strife thing is over.
Mhm.
I'll probably write until I die or can't anymore, to be honest with you. In terms of like active developments, though, like a project that's like actively in development, I can't say what it is, but I am collaborating with somebody on something that
Okay.
I I can't really there's not a whole lot I can say about it.
No, that's fine.
But
You
but
don't
it
have to.
but I am actively like at this point in time I am collaborating with somebody else. I like collaborative stuff. I wish it was easier to do over the internet. I really like doing collaborations. One of the things that was a big bummer is Fosha last year did an anthology,
Yeah.
and we had indie authors, like lots of them, submit short stories. Like they all agreed on a theme. They all agreed on. It was crazy. They all agreed on this, and they put it together, and it was a phenomenal anthology. Awesome. Totally recommend that people check it out. I wanted to be part of it, but I couldn't at the time. I just did not have the bandwidth to do it. And
Yeah.
it sucks because I really wish I could have been part of it. I love stuff like that. I like collaborative stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're like the Dark Veil Society people.
Mhm.
I love all of their stuff that they do. I love how like collaborative they are.
Yeah.
I like that kind of stuff. If they were to put out like an anthology of like Dark Veil stories, like where they each had a like I've pitched this to one of them before.
They're working on it.
I know I was gonna say I pitched this to one of
Yeah.
them before, and they were like, "We've considered it actually." I'm like, "You should totally do that," because I love that kind of stuff. I love like
Yeah.
I like reading poetry, but I don't like to just get a poetry book. I like poetry like anthologies,
Okay.
where you get a bunch of different types of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, it's especially cool when they agree on a theme. Like this is going to be a 30 poem anthology, but the topic is it has to include some kind of tree imagery.
Hmm.
And you think like, oh, it's just gonna be 30 poems about trees. No, you'd be surprised the imagination when you put. It's weird. It's like when you put boundaries on someone's imagination, it works in overdrive. So I feel like I like collaborating with people because like when we have to agree on like, well, here's the perimeters, here's our creative boundary, it like challenges me and like stimulates me to like really try to be like, okay, well, how much can we get away with? Because when you're just by yourself, like if I just sit, like when I'm just working on the Children of Strife books by myself, I'm in full creative control of everything, working solo. I've kind of set these arbitrary rules in my head of what I can do. But there's nobody else telling me like, well, hold on, remember we agreed, the arsonist can only wear a black cloak, I don't have that stuff. It's like, no, now he's going to wear a blue cloak. Stop me. You can't, like, whereas when you're working in collaboration with others, there's more like the gears have to work harder, you know? So I love that stuff. I hope that Fosha will do another anthology soon. I don't have any information on that. I've been asked. I have no idea if they're going to do another one. Definitely looking forward to a anthology from the Dark Veil Society. They don't miss, so I know that they'll execute it really well. But yeah, collaborative work is what I have going on the side, and it's definitely like one of my favorite things to do.
Okay. Let's see. We got Gwen's Kingdom said Team Cloak here. It said audiobooks are convenient, but nothing beats the paper. And Jeremy said, I'm not an audiobook guy either. I simply haven't taken the time to try, but I would think that it's the difference between reading plainly and reading the lines with purpose.
I like that. That's thoughtful. Yeah, I feel like an audiobook is more performative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And that's probably why a lot of people like it, because it's relatable to like video games, podcasts, and movies and stuff where there's like performance.
Very true. Very true. Like I love audiobooks, and mainly because it's convenient for me because of my job. Second is I would much, much rather read a book than have to use like a Kindle or something. Like I have my Kindle, I will read it. I just don't feel connected. Like there's only been a couple of stories of it, and I don't want to say it's a story. It's just weird. Something just doesn't feel right. Just pressing a side of a Kindle and reading, and it is what it is. I'm just not a fan. That's me.
Ebooks have been growing on me just because I felt the same way for the longest time for what's right. It started to grow on me, and who knows, maybe audiobooks will be the next thing that grows on me. But ebooks started growing on me because I would find myself in like waiting rooms or somewhere where I wouldn't have a book on me, but I'd have my phone on me. So like I downloaded like the Kindle app, and I could sit there and I can read, Relentless Blades by Russell Carroll. Oh, here we go. I'm just going to read. And it's like, it's like, how much time do I have to sit here and wait for my appointment? Oh, 30 minutes. Okay. Well, I'm just going to sit here and read, So it's helped me. I prefer physical books. Ebook has been a convenient thing for like when I'm in a place. I'd rather sit and read an ebook on my Kindle app than doom scroll the internet and be like, oh, what country is pissed off now? Like instead of that, I can just, I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that. I tell you, the thing about ebooks to me is I think it's nearly, I don't want to say perfect, but almost perfect for authors, especially indies, because they can send people arcs and get them out, and it doesn't cost anything or very cheap compared to sending them a physical book. I mean, that's probably the best thing, in my opinion, for what Kindle is now, audio or, e-readers, personally. Let's see. Gwen said, true. My narrator literally sings in Gwen's Kingdom audiobook.
True.
Cool.
That's true. And Rowdy, if you haven't checked out that audiobook, Gwen's Kingdom, Gwen's Kingdom, her performance of that excellent. And I'm not an audiobook guy, but she's good. If I told Brian, the author of Gwyn's Kingdom, I told him that if Children of Strife wasn't so like dark, if it was more, I don't even know how to describe it. If it was more lighthearted, let's just go with that.
Yeah.
I would actually be that. She's a person I would actually be trying to get a hold of to, what's the word? Not solicit, not oh my gosh, I just had the word and now I got ahead of myself. Commission.
Okay.
I would totally try to commission her to do an audiobook of The Arsonist if it was a little bit more happy.
Okay.
I guess.
All right. So that's legit. ELs. As far as audiobook narration, I try to read cleanly and let the words do the work. I can't act. No, you do a good job. John Douglas. What's up, John? Generally, that's how I would read books to my daughter when she was little. Way more fun, too. Yeah. I can say, I mean, yeah, it definitely helps, because I mean, there is some audiobooks that I've listened to that are like dry and just, it's like someone literally just reading a text.
Yeah,
which I get it. I mean, that is technically the point.
That's been my experience most of the time. Is I get an audio, like, oh, you got to read this book. You got to listen to it next time you're in your car. Put on this audio. My wife, she loves to listen to books in the car, and I'll get in the car with her sometimes, and I'll turn on the car, and she'll put on an audiobook, and I'm just driving to Costco listening to the most I want to go to sleep type of audiobook.
There you go. Deborah Thomas is her name. I guess that's the audiobook narrator.
Yeah, she's great. She's great.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you want to talk about doing performances and stuff, I mean, which everybody's going to say Dungeon Crawler Carl. That is crazy.
Carl.
Yeah. That audiobook narration by, was it Jeff Hayes, is phenomenal. He does it feels like 50 characters, and they're all superb. I mean, it's not that many, of course, but the main ones.
Awesome.
But it's a bunch. But yeah, it's good. So, do you have a dream project you hope to do one day? Anything that's 15, 20 years from now, I hope to do something just that you've got in mind?
And specifically with books?
Yeah, yeah. Or if you got something else.
I just didn't know, because I know a lot of people would probably say oh, I'd love to see my story turned into a Netflix show or a movie.
Oh, no. Yeah. I mean, that'd be cool. Yeah, no doubt.
Maybe. I don't know if they have.
Yeah.
You see the adaptations that have come out in the last 8 years. I don't know if I want my book to be an Amazon show. They might just completely miss the premise. But
well, you just got to be so famous, say Sanderson, who actually gets to write his own screenplay.
That would be cool.
And pretty much direct everything with it too.
Yeah, if I can have that kind of power, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. Sell millions and millions and millions of books.
The Vitamin Kid would have made a great movie. I think it would have been very. It has that slapstick humor of Some Like It Hot. Have you ever seen that movie? I think that it would have made a pretty good movie back in the day, a black and white movie. But what big project would I like to accomplish in 10 to 15 years? There is something that I would like to accomplish in the next 10 years. I think it'd be really cool. I was telling you earlier about collaboration. I would really, really like to be able to work with other, just say artists, I guess.
Yeah.
Writers. Come to do something so collaborative that we actually create some kind of platform, or I don't want to say publishing house because that limits it to written form, but I would love to be part of an art studio, I guess, a collaborative one, a team of people, of artists, working in unison to putting together something, but at an independent level. I would like to be able to be part, okay, I'm really bad at this. I'm sorry. I can't. You probably like this guy writes like um, the anthology that happened.
Mhm.
Very cool. They were all working together, right? And I believe
Yeah.
Jesse did the artwork for it, and I believe Nicole Callahan put together the publishing process files and stuff for Amazon. That was a cool collaboration. I would like to do something like that, but like large scale, like have a
Okay.
like people with certain skills, like maybe one's really good with like sounds and like audio, like music, and like
Mhm.
really collaborate on something like a big anthology, but of like where we have all the different mediums covered, where we're dealing with like we've got like a Spotify playlist of original music tailored for this specific project. It's a
Oh,
comic book
wow.
or a
Yeah.
novel. We've got like maybe animated shorts to put on like
Yeah.
YouTube and TikTok. So we've got like an animator. We've got like all of that stuff where we're not just putting together a novella or a comic book or a novel, and we've started an independent publishing studio or tried independent publishing house, and we're putting out books, but something that involves all the art mediums that I love so much, where we've got, who knows, maybe it does so well that we get some people that understand code and we're able to create like a small indie developed game to put on Steam that goes along with it,
Oh,
you know?
man.
Yeah. So like
That'd be
I would,
sweet.
my like dream project would be to get to be part of a team of artists to collaborate on something so large scale, but where it's large scale, but the scope is still like indie, like small creative control. You're not owned
Yeah.
by a massive corporation. You're not enslaved to some shareholders. You don't have some like CEO or CFO telling you what you have to do by certain like it's just you
Yeah.
guys take a risk. You invest some money and time, and you take a risk of like, let's put together like an art project and see if people connect with it. And then if they
Yeah.
do, maybe we're able to continue to keep doing it because there's a little bit of revenue coming in from it, right?
Yeah.
That's what I would love to do. I don't have like a name for that, so that's why I said like an art studio, but
Yeah. That's cool. That's a good
that would
idea.
be my like my dream project to do in like the next 10 or 15 years would just be to put together a team like that that could accomplish something where we bring all the different art forms together. I would like that
Yeah.
because like Gwen's Kingdom is a great example of like Brian writes this story. Now Brian has a musical background, and whether he intends to do implement that or not in the story doesn't matter because it happens where he is very lyrical with his writing, and to the point where even in the audiobook they're singing, right? So he's got this fantasy sort of, I wouldn't even know what to call it. It's like Zelda, like Harry Potter, Zelda
Okay.
fantasy. It's young adult, like fantasy fiction story. And so it's a novel, but it has musical elements that are just like waiting to be used. And then he does the original art. He did all the artwork for it. And
Okay.
if he wanted to, like, well, I should say, I'm sure he wants to. I can't speak for him, but if he had the time, he could totally turn it into like like where it has just like tons of artwork, where it could be like an animated thing.
Mhm.
So now you have this novel that has musical elements that could like easily have original music written for it that include the lyrics, if included, if it wasn't instrumental, would just be like parts of the book.
Yeah.
And then you've got illustrations that could
Mhm.
easily, the style of it could easily translate well to animation.
Okay.
So right there alone, right off the cusp, you're thinking like, well, this thing could have like, you can make like little music videos of this book,
Yeah.
you know? But like, that's what I'm thinking. Like, so I like that kind of stuff, like things where you can take it and just sort of spin it into a bunch of different directions, because that kind of thought process, now we've come full circle, is how I got to the Arsonist,
Okay.
where I had all these different ideas in place. That was always what I wanted to do with it originally. Was it was going to be a comic book. I talked about the illustrator friend I had. Well, he had a friend that was looking to make. He liked making short instrumental songs.
Mhm.
Like he liked to make, even though they actually never saw the light of day. He liked to make like video game soundtrack type music. with like all the
Okay.
different instruments, right? He just music was a hobby for him. He was a music teacher, so like he had access to many instruments, and he wanted to. He had told us like, yeah, I'll make some original music for you guys to like a little playlist to go with this comic book and stuff. And whenever you promote it or decide to animate bits of it for social media, like you can put the music to it. And so I love stuff like that.
Yeah. That'd be pretty neat too with like the like say if he did like retro like music, like say like in the NES style, Mario, different things. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. EL said, I will 100% sell out to Netflix money. Oh, hold on. If they destroy my world, I have 30 more chamber ending. So I can't
that's
guarantee that.
that's fair.
I might sell out if I had enough money to be able to sit at home and just write. Absolutely. And then I originally wrote the story with an anime in mind. There you go. That's awesome.
I don't think I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with like selling out or anything. Just for you guys, I totally respect it. I'm not saying I wouldn't either for the record. I'm just like
okay.
I'm very apprehensive with just what I've seen them do to adaptations of IPs that I love.
Yeah. It's a lot of stuff. I mean, now, you can even go to like, look at what they're about to do with like Narnia, like they've already said that they're not going to do what the book is, it's going to be their own thing. Then why even call it that? It's only to get people in. Oh, the Chronicles of Narnia. Yeah, we'll watch that. And then you watch it and you're like, what is this? Makes no sense.
I mean, they already, I'm going to get in trouble.
I know I'm trying to like
Narnia, they're doing it to Narnia. They're doing it to Harry Potter again. They're doing it to They're doing it to Lord of the Rings again. They did it to The Witcher. They did it to Wheel of Time, which I wasn't even a Wheel of Time fan, but they did it to it.
Yeah, I ain't even read it, and that's all I heard was like the first 2 seasons. Like, what are we doing? Like, this has nothing to do with the books,
right? So I just haven't. There's very few examples of where it's gone well. So yeah, I mean, they brought up good points. So like, hey, take this IP that I made, ruin it, give me a check. I'm gonna go make more IPs that you can't ruin, but now I have the money to just focus on my IP. That is smart. Yeah. You could do that. I guess it just comes down to,
Yeah. I don't understand how, okay, we're going to adapt this book into a movie or a show or whatever. There's a reason you're doing it. The whole point is the story that is being told in the book. Why are we going away from it? That makes no sense to me. Well, besides just making it, how they're trying to make it.
Well, it's definitely like, there's a lot of reasons why they're probably doing it. I think the easiest is the fact that it's money on to them on the table. We can't do an original IP because then that risks people not wanting to give it a chance and go to the theater to see it. But if we tell them it's this IP that they know and they recognize and they probably love, they'll go and at least give. But this is like something that Ryan Reynolds was making fun of about superheroes. Like, everybody's making comic book stuff, but nobody's actually sticking to the comic book IP. And he actually made humor of this, even in the Deadpool movies, where like the last Deadpool movie did really well because they actually like did a lot of fan service work, but the fan service work wasn't just a cash grab. It was also supposed to be ironic and showing like, hey, look, if you actually stick to the comic books, give them their costumes, give them their back. Like, if you actually give the fans of the comics what they want, like, make Gambit look like Gambit and sound like Gambit and act like Gambit. Give Wolverine his signature costume. Like, if you just do the IP. If you just do the IP justice, if you just stick to the source material, not only will you still make money, which is what you're concerned about, but you'll make people happy, which I know they're not concerned about, but you'll have both. It's like people a week ago were complaining about Star Wars. Like, I don't know why they didn't just do this. Don't they know that this... we know, everybody knows that Star Wars was like a golden goose that they just gave it away. Like, it's just all they had to do was stick to source material. And that's the thing with books, is if you just stick to the source material, like people know how much of a Lord of the Rings fan I am. I'm not excited about this Hunt for Gollum thing, because to me, it's like the Hunt for Gollum And they're talking first it was going to be a movie. Now they're saying it's going to be a trilogy. It's like not even a short story in the. There's like nothing there.
It's like what they did with The Hobbit, which still makes no sense neither. I mean, they added so much stuff that's not in the book.
But at least The Hobbit had a book to stretch out.
Just say it.
It's agenda.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I'm at with all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Okay. We're almost hitting the hour and a half mark. So let's land this plane. I'm going to be selfish like I am for my last 3 questions. What are you reading?
What am I reading?
Yep.
I am currently reading Ashbound Oaths. It is the sequel. It's the sequel to Relentless Blades by Russell Carroll.
I've heard that's really good.
If you are a fan of D&D, any edition, any capacity, but specifically the older school editions, like the ones that were more masculine, it's very good. It'll definitely sing home to you. He doesn't shy away from. He likes these comparisons, so I don't think he would be offended if I said that, like if I made these comparisons, because he doesn't shy away from them himself. But it's very reminiscent of like Dragonlance and like Warcraft. The sequel so far, I haven't finished it. I'm not even halfway through it. I've been trying to read it as much as I can, but it's definitely a different tone, different pacing than Relentless Blades. Not bad though. It's different. Relentless Blades is very much like Welcome to the Thunderdome. Insert, word, like it's about to go down. There's like action and like you just like there's just metal music playing everywhere. You think like it's just like it's like a whiplash. Like you're just getting like kicked in the face and you're awake. Like, whoa, I'm reading Relentless Blades. Like Russell's strength is that he's very good at paying homage to what I think is the most nostalgic era of fantasy.
Okay.
I wouldn't say like the most traditional or iconic, because I don't want to, but like to me, I think the most nostalgic era of like fantasy is from like the 80s and like late 70s to early 90s, like that peak, like Gen X, like when Gen X was growing up, they really had, America was like the only superpower. There was so much creativity going on. I mean, that's when a lot of good movies and music came out too, so there's no surprise there. Yep. But he's very good at paying homage to a very nostalgic era and balancing it with really good, like modern day action-packed, action writing. Like one of the weaknesses, and if John Douglas is still here, I know he'll agree with me. One of the weaknesses of the beloved Witcher books that I adore so much is that the action is not the greatest. Sometimes it's a little like flat. Sometimes there's no sequence like that in Relentless Blades. Like Russell does a very good job. It's definitely one of his strengths, and I really liked Relentless Blades. So when I won the giveaway for the sequel, I was like, top of my reading list for 2026. I got to read this. I won the giveaway. I liked the first book. So, I just started it not that long ago, a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. It's going well. I did read one book entirely though already this year, and it was The Eldritch Knight. I don't know if you've seen that one going on, but it's very similar. It's very like high fantasy, like D&D kind of stuff. So, that's what I'm reading right now. What about you?
Well, as I said, just finished E.O. Montague's The Lost Girl. And I actually, same thing, I binged that book in 2 days. Then I turned around and binged J.C.M. Burns' Hybrid Helix, the second one. What is it? Return of the Griffin. Man, I love those books. He's got like 8 out, and I think 9's coming out later this year.
Man.
It's superhero. Like he's a superhero, but he's not. He's kind of like reluctant, except when you make him mad.
The reluctant hero.
They read. It's almost like each book could be a like a mini series, like 7 or 8 like mini series, like episodes like 45 minutes long, an hour. Just how I don't know, to me it just feels like how it's plotted out in the book just goes on like, okay, episode 1 would be the episode, and then there's like a mini boss in the middle of it, and then you got the big boss at the end.
That's
It's just how
cool.
it feels to me. It's so good. Like I really like those books.
That's great,
EL's
man.
The Lost Girl. It is that book gets better and better and better as it goes on. Like I don't know, it's a weird to me like a ramp on that book because if I'm right, EL tell me if I'm wrong, but there's a boy in it or a man. I think he's autistic. I'm pretty sure. And then there's this girl that it's his brother or it's his sister, and things happen, her boyfriend or whatever, and they do stuff or whatever, and then it just ramps up and gets crazy. Their mom has some crazy powers that I hope he explores in another book. That is just it's nuts, and I love that book. It's like the more I read of it, I was like, I don't want to stop. I've listened to it for like 6 straight hours. I need to stop, but I want to keep going. It's so
Six
good.
hours.
Yeah. Oh, it's a 12-hour
Sheesh.
book. Yeah, it's a 12. I think it's a 12-hour book, and I couldn't stop watching, reading it or listening to it, whatever. But yeah, they're both so good, so good. And I'm about to start because my buddy Reed, Kingdoms of Death. I'll probably start it Tuesday.
That's a cool cover. Like I like the.
Oh yeah,
This is a cool looking book.
Broken Binding edition. This is book 4 in the Sun Eater.
That's cool.
So yeah, they have a big. It makes a big giant picture.
That's
of it.
awesome.
Thank you, thank you.
That's
They're good.
very cool.
All right. Next question. What is your favorite book?
Oh
If you
man.
have one. If you have 2, you can say 2.
That's tough. It doesn't always. There's a part of me that would say Lord of the Rings. I love the Lord of the Rings very much. It's like the holy grail of fantasy writing for me.
See you, Jeremy.
See you, Jeremy.
Gwen.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I really like the book House of Leaves because it's weird, and I guess I like weird books because my book's weird.
Okay.
I've heard. I don't know.
I've heard many things about House of Leaves, good and bad.
It's the weirdest book I've ever read.
Okay.
I would have to say if I have to pick a standalone single book, I would probably go with House of Leaves. If I had to pick like a trilogy, Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
If I had to pick like a series, probably go with Dragonlance.
Okay.
But there was a point where I probably would have said Game of Thrones or The Witcher, but Game of Thrones is not finished, so it feels wrong. And The Witcher has, I don't know, it's changed over time for me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Not bad at all. All right. Last question. What book would you recommend me to read?
I recommend you to read.
Recommend me to read.
Oh man, well, you seem to really like fantasy.
Yeah, but I read fantasy, sci-fi, horror, and historical fiction. So I like to read all of that.
I'm gonna cheat to look up his last name because I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to mess up. Okay, I want to make sure I knew it started with a W. Okay. Brian Wilson.
Oh yeah, The Forgotten Planet.
Yes.
Okay.
Great ones. If you've already read those, my backup would be Chloe's Kingdom.
Okay. Yeah, I interviewed Brian I think it was last year.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay.
That makes sense. I'm a little late. I discovered your channel about like 4 or 5 months ago, like end of last year. so that makes more sense. But yeah, Brian Wilson's books, great. He's got lots of them. Science fiction to he's
Yeah.
from what I've read so far. I'm saying this, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. I'm not a big sci-fi guy, but I think that his work might be up your alley. Just based, I mean, I'm just guessing. I don't intimately know what you like reading, but it seems like you would be interested in that kind of story, that kind of world and series. Like I said, Chloe's Kingdom's really cool too.
Okay.
It's
that sounds familiar. I don't.
Chloe's Kingdom. I actually have it. It was actually by Gregory Michael. I was gonna go grab it, but it's actually got 2 other books on it.
Okay.
Gregory Michael wrote it. I am going to read the next book later this year. It's called The Lost Colony.
Okay.
But that's like a sci-fi series. Chloe's Kingdom is cool because I told people when I read it last year, it was one of the last books I read last year. It was one of my favorites because he gave it to me. He sent it to me. I got it, right? Like, and I told him, I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't really like sci-fi a whole lot. I'm very picky with sci-fi. And he had pitched it as a heist. And I'm like, I don't really like heists either because they all kind of follow a formula of like there's a Rick and Morty episode that makes fun of heists and it's perfect. So I was like, kind of like, okay, I'll read it, but like, I can't promise I'm going to be your number one fan because like, I don't really like sci-fi or heists, formulaic. I was blown away. I was really impressed because the science fiction was actually an aesthetic of science fiction that I like. It was definitely like more up my alley. It was like a kind of like a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe. And I'm not just saying that because there's a raccoon in it. It definitely struck me as more of that version of sci-fi, less like Star Trek, more like that. And the heist was not formulaic. In fact, I think that if he had not pitched it as a heist novel, it would have taken me a while to figure out that it was.
Okay.
So I may have just ruined that for you, but he ruined it for me, so I don't feel bad. But
you're good.
But it definitely it's like one where you're like, I didn't see that coming. I was expecting him to do this because they always do this in heists, and then they didn't do that, and it was good. Yeah. It was tastefully done. So yeah, those would be my recommendations.
I've read way more fantasy and probably quite a bit more horror than I have sci-fi. But the funny thing is, Red Rising is by far my favorite series. Like, I love those books, which Red God comes out, I think, supposedly close to the end of the year. It's kind of the rumor. Every one of those books is incredible. Every one of them. Love them. And then, like I said, book 4 of The Sun Eater, and I think it's a 7-book series, and I want to think Red Rising is too. They're both so good. But that's pretty much it on sci-fi that I've read. I've read a couple like here and there, but everything else is mainly fantasy and horror. So it'll be good to read a little bit more of it.
Yeah. So, like I said, those would be my recommendations because I'm sure you've read plenty of indie fantasy and horror and stuff. Yeah, you probably get sent lots of indie fantasy and horror books. So I would check those out.
I will do it. It is wrote down. Like I said, I interviewed Brian, and his books does sound good. And I'll have to check out Chloe's Kingdom because that sounds so familiar. I'm sure once I see the cover, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know."
Gregory Michael, he did it, and it was pretty cool.
Okay.
He got a lot of hate last year because he was like part of I don't even remember what it was. It was like a writing competition thing. And there was like a bunch of controversy. You know how there's always controversy with those things. And he was one of the people that kind of got like wrapped into the drama, I guess.
Oh. Yeah. I was looking it up. Kingdom.
Yeah, Chloe's Kingdom by Gregory Michael.
Okay. Yeah. I've seen that. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. It's
Oh, okay.
it's a good book.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess that is it. Do you want to say anything else or?
No, I honestly just thank you for having me on, Rowdy, and thanks to everybody that showed up and said hi and listened to the ramblings of a madman and a cool guy. And yeah, just if you guys haven't checked out the Vitamin Kid or any of the Children of Strife books, check it out sometime. If you ever want something to read, especially like on the plane, I don't write long books. All of my books are really short. The Confluence is the longest thing I've ever written. And I was talking about it with a few people, and they're like, "Oh, my books are way longer than that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. It's the longest thing I've ever written, but for most people, it'll be like still below average." So,
Is it under 500 pages?
yeah.
Well, then at least Mike Molman would definitely read it then. That's the only criteria.
Yeah, it's true. No,
500 or less.
yeah. I had people tell me they wish The Arsonist was longer because it just felt really quick. And I was like, well, that's how I write. So
That's good. I mean, I'd rather be that than be like, I wish this was over.
yeah, I don't like, again, I write what I want to read. I don't like reading long novels that just go on and on and on and on. So I don't have the attention span for that. But.
All right. Well, thank you for being on. I really appreciate it. And thanks everybody for showing up and being in the chat and everything. We appreciate it. But y'all